AI seems to be everywhere. Software company Cisco Systems recently released its State of AI Security Report tracking data trends here in the U.S. Joining us now with a breakdown of what the report uncovered, Cisco President and Chief Product Officer Jeetu Patel. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome back to the program.
Michelle, it's good to see you. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. What were the key takeaways when it comes to data trends in the AI security landscape?
So, Michelle, the way that things are moving right now, they're moving so fast. And one of the things that you're seeing is we're moving to the second phase of AI. So the first phase was these chatbots that we've been using for the past 3 years that intelligently answered questions for us. And now we're moving to the world of agents, where these agents will be able to conduct tasks and jobs for us almost fully autonomously. And they'll have access to your systems. And so about 83% of the people that we interviewed in the report said that they plan to deploy some sort of agent technology within their organizations, but only 29% of them feel that they're going to be ready to do it securely. You know, I happen to be at the world's largest security conference right now, and the talk at this conference, at the RSA conference, is all about what are we going to do to make sure that safety and security of these agents is maintained, because you're going to be delegating work to these agents, and if you don't do it safely and securely, it's going to be the difference between bankruptcy and market leadership.
Yeah, I mean, that's critical. Cyber threats continue to be top of mind for companies, as especially the war with Iran that continues. We know modern conflicts look a lot different with hacktivist groups very active. How vulnerable are our hospitals, banks, power grids, airports when it comes to cyber disruption?
I think the critical infrastructure is an area that we all have to get extremely prepared for, because these agents, Michelle, that you and I are going to be using are also being used by these adversaries that cause attacks. And the property of these agents is these agents are they're kind of like teenagers. They are relentless. They have no fear of consequence. They actually just go ahead and do things. And if you don't put enough guardrails in them, they can start to do things that could have irreversible damage. In the chatbot era, when something went wrong in security, the worst that could happen is it gave you a wrong answer. The agent era, when something goes wrong, it could take a wrong action, like debit money from your bank account, bring down a hospital system, which then could prevent people from getting dialysis, and like lives could be cost. So I do feel like, electric power grids and hospitals and your water supply systems, these tend to be the primary targets that adversaries would actually want to go after. They're going to be using agents just like we are. So if we don't have defenses that are going to be handled at machine scale, you will not be able to keep up with the level of attacks these agents will continue to have, because they work 7/24. They don't go back home to their families in the evenings. They keep working.
So broadly speaking, how vulnerable on a scale of 1 to 10 would you say we are?
I think depending on the industry and depending on the country, that might vary, but I think the risks in these things tend to be pretty high. So I would say, north of 7 is what you should always stay paranoid, assuming you're north of 7 in that vulnerability scale, and constantly do things to patch the vulnerability. Stay dated on your equipment. Don't let the software patching exercises take too long, because those are the things that actually hold you back. Now, how do you do this? Because people are constrained with resources right now in the security domain. And so what ends up happening is only 20% of the vulnerabilities you find actually get patched. What we have to do is move to an agentic version of the Security Operations Center, which is not just humans going out and catching anomalies within your environment, but agents working on our behalf, fighting the agents from the adversaries. And that's what needs to happen. And that's where you're starting to see a big movement in technology, is moving to these agentic security operation centers.
And I'm curious about what role AI plays in spreading misinformation or even deep fakes.
Look, I think this is a technology that has tremendous amount of benefit. You're going to be able to cure diseases that humanity has struggled to cure. You'll be able to figure out ways to end poverty. You'll be able to make sure that education can be distributed evenly throughout the world to places it never was able to get to. And on the other hand, there's catastrophic consequences that could happen if we don't actually have the appropriate guardrails put in place. So one of those downsides can be misinformation spread, can be making sure that these agents are propagating and amplifying information in a very negative way. So I feel like the downsides aren't trivial, but on balance, I remain very positive about the upsides of AI while not being delusional about the fact that security has risks, and we have to make sure that we can put effective guardrails around this technology, and then it starts to become really exciting on what the future holds for us.
And speaking of the future, what would you say are some of the data trends that you expect to see this year and beyond?
So this year, one of the big shifts that's happened is software development and coding is largely becoming a solved problem. Where we, for example, Michelle, we have our first product that now is 100% written by AI. No humans wrote a line of code in there. Humans directed the agent. And so what you're going to start to see is everyone who's a human is going to become a manager of agents. And they will use these agents in a way to direct work. So by the end of the year, you should see a large percentage, majority of the code that is being written by software companies will start getting written by agents. Now, the question you might ask is, so what do people do that are actually writing code? Well, they'll be able to do higher order tasks. They won't be writing code. They'll be delegating agents, and every person will maybe manage 8, 10 agents. And your job is going to be to keep all those agents working for you, even when you're not working.
Wow. The work will never stop if that carries true. Well, Jitu, you got to come back more often because I have more questions for you, but we're out of time. Jitu Patel from Cisco, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Michelle.